wonderful masquerade. You can't hear me? There you go. All right. Well, we can't have a masquerade, a competition, without some judges. So first off this evening, I'm going to introduce our stage judges. Our stage judges look at the costume in its entirety. Everything you see and look at and wonder about, that's exactly what they're looking for. Color, cut, design, movement, everything. Our first stage judge, Julie. In Julie's 11 years of cosplaying, her inspiration has run the range from anime to movies to video games to original design. She greatly enjoys making a fool of herself on stage, as evidenced by Best in Shows at Anime North and other local cons. For the last several years, she has set that aside in order to be one of our judges, quite often as a workmanship judge, and we're very happy to have her on stage this year. Our next judges are our cosplay guests of honor. From St. Louis, Missouri, please give a warm round of applause for Nora and Bruce Mai. Nora has been a president of the ICG for 3 years and chaired CostumeCon 16 and has edited 3 of the Future Fashion folios. She and Bruce actually met at a Doctor Who club party in St. Louis. And Bruce's first costume was a Dalek, and that was almost 30 years ago. He has served as the president of the St. Louis Costumers Guild for 5 years now. He co-chaired CostumeCon 25 and was the Future Fashion Show director at CC30. Together, he and Nora received the ICG's Lifetime Achievement Award in 2010, and currently Bruce is also the administrator for the International Costumers Gallery. This is a website with over 20,000 costume photos and still growing, and he's the archivist for the ICG's Pat and Peggy Kennedy Memorial Video Collection. Our third judge, someone some of you might have known before, Dawn McKechnie. Often better known as Kaiju Gal, Dawn has been cosplaying since 1985 and competing since 1988. Like her cosplay name hints, Kaiju comes from the Japanese word for a strange beast or monster, and she specializes in monsters and mascot costumes. Her favorite being her now retired Godzilla costume. Although she still competes in the last decade or so, Dawn has been running masquerades in the Toronto area and hosting costume-related panels and workshops while currently being the president of the Fantasy Fiber Artists of Canada, the Canadian chapter of the ICG. Dawn has judged Phoenix Comic-Con, Anime Next, Fan Expo, CostumeCon, WorldCon, and of course Anime North, among others. In her real life, she also acts as a cast member and manager at Castle Blood and is now chairing CostumeCon 32 to be held here in Toronto. April 2014. I'm not saying if you already are buying memberships you'll do well, but hey, you know, I wouldn't say that. That'd be wrong. Our fourth judge, Caitlin Thompson. Scientist by day, cosplayer by night. Except not right now because she's too busy running multiple conventions. She changes her hair color more often than you change your socks. And she is best known for being one of the 2 Awesome Raptors that you often see around Anime North and Kanji. And that is it for our stage judges, yes? Good. So while I have all the stage judges out here, I do have one more announcement. You may recall that we got to pimp an Anime North regular last year after we returned from CostumeCon. Well, it's very nice that Canada has represented again, because last week at CostumeCon 31, Dawn McKechnie was awarded the International Costumers Guild Lifetime Achievement Award. She has now joined Barb Schofield, Jackie Ward, and Penny Littman, all from Toronto, and all 4 recipients. Now, we also have workmanship judges. The workmanship judges get to play touchy-feely with the costumes that you're not allowed to. They get to see them nice and up close and flip over the hems and find out how they're made. We have, as our workmanship judges, who are still actually finishing up and doing their tabulations, we have Martin, who is of course also known online as Wookie Mart. He combines 20 years of professional set construction and his love of crafting and sewing to produce complex props and costume pieces. His costuming repertoire includes Phantom of the Opera, Wolverine, Hellboy, and a Dalek. We have Barb Schofield. Just mentioned Barb. She started out making costumes for skating carnivals and parades, and in 1978 she discovered science fiction and Star Trek con masquerades and enthusiastically dived in. Barb has made costumes that range from historical to science fiction and fantasy, including wearable art doll costumes and mascot-style costumes. Over the years, Barb has won numerous awards, both locally and internationally, and in 2006 was awarded the International Costumers Guild Lifetime Achievement Award. For all of you that know and think Dawn does a wonderful job running these masquerades and bringing fairness guidelines to Canada, and now other people, like the folks at Con-G and G-Anime and in Montreal and all over, have taken her guidance on how to do things. Barb's the one that started it all up here. Barb's the one that taught Dawn. If you get a chance to say hi to her, you should say hi and thank you. You should say hi and thank you to her often. Our next workmanship judge is Sabrina Vocatero. She has been costuming for 10 years and blames Anime North for fueling her bad habit. She has the following advice: measure twice, cut once, and buy twice the amount of fabric you need anyway. We have Kate Daly as a workmanship judge. She is one of our costume guests of honor also. Kate Daly is a special effects makeup artist and full-time geek and evil plant wrangler. She began studying special effects and makeup, costuming full-time under the tutelage of Academy Award winner Dick Smith, who's done things you all know from The Exorcist in the 70s on up to still doing things today. Through her company, Daily Creations, Kate specializes in making custom silicone props and costume pieces, as well as giving workshops and demonstrations teaching these silicone techniques at science fiction, comic book, and special effects conventions. If any of you watch Face Off, Kate's the one that actually teaches how to do that stuff. We're almost done, I promise. They're all working very hard. They deserve their due. Jennifer has been involved in fandom and costuming for over 10 years, and she studied at Ryerson University for theater costuming and has training and experience in fashion design. Best known for her Weeping Angel costume, she has designed for theater, film, television, and web series and won a variety of awards at science fiction conventions, anime events, and Worldcons. When not participating in fandom, Jennifer can be found on the streets of Toronto performing as a living statue artist. And our last workmanship judge, Caroline Julian. Carrie hails from a long line of tailors and seamstresses and discovered fandom and costuming while in university. She spent the 80s competing internationally, a master costumer. She began working predominantly behind the scenes in the 90s. She's part of that whole Barb Teach and Dawn thing. Both running and judging numerous masquerades, and became the masquerade director for Anime North during the convention's early years. Beyond fandom, a fascination with historical garb and textiles has led her to both design and dress weddings, explore multimedia textiles and beaded art. So I'd like to have a big round of applause for all of our judges, a whole lot of them. All right, with most of the paperwork out of the way, let's get started, huh?